Today I'm going to show you how to make this really fun loop stitch baby bootie. You can see on the bottom it's worked in two parts. You've got the sole and then the top of the boot. It does open. Let's see here to make it easier to put on. And I'm going to show you how to start it. So let's start with the base of the bootie, which is the sole. And you really have to be careful when you're crocheting the base of your bootie, because if you don't get it right, this is what will happen. You can kind of see here how it's twisted a little bit. That little twist may not seem like a lot, but if you finish the bootie up, it will end up twisting this way, and that won't look nice at all. It'll be really, really noticeable. You can kind of see it starting to twist now. So you really want to make sure that when you do these soles, you get the entire foundation right on, as straight as you can get it, because if you don't, you'll notice it by the time you finish. So let's start. We're going to start with a regular slip knot. So in order to slip knot, you're going to hold on to your yarn, and I like to wrap my yarn around my finger, and I'm going to put my yarn through the hole and then pull, and you can see how it's adjustable. I'm using a really thick yarn. It's 4-ply. I like to use a thicker yarn for this because the smaller, lighter weight baby yarns are really thin, and sometimes you can see gaps and holes through them. You can use any kind of yarn you like. If you'd rather go with a regular baby weight yarn, a smaller yarn, you'll just end up with a smaller shoe. I'm also using a size H hook. It's my favorite hook. I practically crochet everything with it. So now that we've got our yarn on the hook, we're going to start by chaining 12. So let's start. We'll wrap the yarn around and just count up to 12. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now you'll notice that when I do these baby booties, that's probably the only counting I'm going to do. The rest of it is all going to be by eye. This is what happens when I count. When I count, I always end up going crooked. When I do it by eye, and I keep my eye on the prize, I can always see the center. And you can kind of see when you go back, this center line right here, that's my foundation chain. And when you get up to the end, you'll notice that we'll be putting 5 half double crochet in the end of our foundation chain, and that makes sort of a little circle. You can see it right there. And it acts as an arrow, so I can tell where the toe of my bootie is going to be. And I work all of my increased stitches around that little tiny arrow there. So you'll see exactly what I mean when we get down to the end. Now when we start, we're going to skip the first chain that we made, and we're going to work in the second chain, and these are going to be single crochet all the way up until the end. You want to end up with 3 chains left. You don't want to crochet in the last 3. So I'm going to skip that first chain, and I'm just going to work my way back. Single crochet, 1 single crochet in each chain until the last 3. So you just keep going back. All the way, and you stop when you have 3 chains left. I have one more. Okay, now you can see I have 3 chains left. That's 1, 2, 3 chains. Now this is really simple. We're going to half double crochet 1 in the very next chain. That's it. The next chain, we're going to half double crochet twice. So that's 1. And in order to half double crochet, I should have showed you that, we wrap the yarn around, we go into the stitch, and wrap around again, pull through, wrap around again, and this loop will go under all 3 of these. and that's a half double crochet. So we've done 2 half double crochet in that stitch, and then we have the final stitch left on our chain. We will do 5 half double crochet in that very last stitch. So wrap the yarn around and go through the chain, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. That's 1 half double crochet. We're going to do 4 more. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and that's 5. Now we've made the toe portion of our boot, and you can already see the hole that I was talking about that acts like an arrow. It's kind of like a bullseye. There's my toe. Okay, now when we're working the underside of the foundation chain, it gets a little tricky. So you really want to pay attention to where we're going, because we're working the underside of the stitches that we just finished. So in the very next stitch, we've got our 5 half double crochet here. We want to work 2 double crochet in that 2 half double crochet in the very next stitch. So we're just mimicking exactly what we did on the other side. So that's 1 half double crochet. We're going to go in that same stitch and work another half double crochet. Okay? So now we have the 5 in the toe and the 2 in the next, and in the next stitch over, we're going to work 1 half double crochet. And that's it for our half double crochet. So you can kind of see how that first round is going so far. Now all we're going to do is we're going to single crochet in each stitch all the way back to the end. So you want to take your time with this and find the stitches, because if you add an extra stitch in, you're going to be in trouble. So really pay attention and do your single crochet, paying careful attention to exactly where those stitches are and where your hook needs to go. You want to go on the underside of the stitches that you worked on the top side of your foundation chain. So we're going to go all the way back till we get to the very last stitch, and I like to work over my tails so there's less sewing in. You don't have to do it that way, but I like to. It's less sewing later. So now when you get back, you'll see the very last stitch is right there. In that last stitch, I'm going to increase single crochet by 2. So in this last stitch, I'm going to go in twice. So that's 1, 2 in the same stitch. Now I've finished with that first round, and you can see now how the toe is going straight. There's no bending, there's no warping, so I know that I'm on the right track. Now, just like in the toe, you see that increase right there that tells you where the toe is. You'll see now, because we've increased in the back, this hole right here tells me where the back heel of the center point of the heel of the boot is. So we're going to increase in the back as well as in the front, but it will be less dramatic, and a less dramatic increase in the back because the heel is narrower than the toe. So in this stitch that we just worked, we did 2 single crochet. In the very next stitch, I'm going to do 2 single crochet. Okay, so now I've got my 2 single crochet in the very next stitch. I am not going to join and chain 1 because there's no need. I'm just going to work right around. So I've got 2 single crochet here. If you can see, we'll back it up a little bit. We've got 2 single crochet here and 2 single crochet here. And this is my center line. Okay, and we're just going to work all the way back down the sole of the bootie now. In each stitch, I'm going to work 1 single crochet until I get to the toe of the bootie. So let's work all the way down. Keep going. Just single crochet. There will be no more half double crochet. We're going to keep working the entire sole of the bootie with using all single crochet. Oops. My hook stuck on some yarn. Okay, now when you get to the toe top, I want you to kind of stop and take a look again at the bullseye that marks the center. what we're going to do is we're going to work from the center. You can see here how if I look at the center and look up, I have these two top stitches, one on either side of the center. I'm going to work 3 increases, and this will be 1. It will be 2 single crochet in this stitch, 1 in this, and on either side we're going to mimic that. So we're going to do 2 more stitches down from there and 2 more stitches down from here. So this will start my first increase here. I will have 2 single crochet here, 1 here, 2 single crochet here, 1 here, 2 single crochet here, and 1 here, and that will be my first increase. You really want to pay attention to where those increases are, because you don't want to have it lopsided. If you're off by 1, you'll notice that your sole will begin to tilt, and it will end up like this, and you don't want that. So in order to do that, I can see that I have 1 more single crochet left here, and that will begin my increase right here when the next stitch will begin my increase. So I'll have 2 in the next, 1, and then right at the top I'll have 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. So let's start. The next stitch will be 2 single crochet, 1, 2 in the same stitch, okay, and then 1. That's my first increase. Now you can see this is where the bullseye is, right here. That will be my center point in my sole of the shoe. This will be my second increase. So I'll do 2 single crochet here, 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next. That's my second increase, okay? And now over here will be my last increase. I'll do 2 single crochet here, 1, 2, and 1 single crochet in the next stitch. So that is my toe top. You can see how it is rounded, it is not pulling anywhere, and it is relatively straight. So now we have to work the underside of the sole, and we're just going to single crochet all the way back till we get to the heel, where we will have another heel increase. So that's going all the way back. I'm not going to count. I don't like to count baby booties. It always throws me off. And I love to do these by eye because you can relatively get them right if you do them all by eye. So we're going to work all the way back, single crochet all the way back till we get to the heel part. And you'll be able to see the heel part because you'll be able to see the bullseye in the back, which is right here. So here is the bullseye, and I have 1 stitch on one side of the bullseye, which is this one here, and 1 stitch on the other. And those will be the 2 stitches that I increase. So I'm going to do 2 single crochet there and 2 single crochet there. So let's work them. We've got 1, 2 single crochet in that first stitch on that one side of the bullseye, and 2 single crochet, 1, 2 on the other side of that. So that works my heel increase. Okay, so you can see how we're working so far. We're not counting anything, we're just using your eye to kind of guide you. Okay, now we're going to work the other side, and we're going to have our last increase round. And the last increase round is basically just 1 single crochet all the way around. Well, not all the way around, but up until the toe part, and then I'll walk you through the increase on the toe part. So let's get up there first. Okay, I apologize for the autofocus. It keeps doing that by itself. I have no control over that. So we're going to go all the way to the toe. And when we get to the toe, we're going to take a look at where the bullseye is to determine where the increased stitches have to go. And in this round, we're just going to increase it by 2, not 3. We're going to increase it by 2. So we're going to take a look at the bullseye, and I can see here, this is my bullseye. It goes right up in between these 4 stitches here. So this is where right here is where my increase is going to go, these 4 stitches. Right in this stitch right here, I'm going to increase 2 and then 1 single crochet. And then I'll do 2 single crochet and 1 single crochet. So in order to get to that, I see that I have 2 more single crochet to do in each one. So that's 1 single crochet here and 1 single crochet here. And because we took a look at where the bullseye hole was, we can see that this will be our first increase. So I'm going to single crochet twice, 1, 2 in that first stitch, okay? And then I'm going to do it once in the next stitch. That's our first increase. Then I'm going to repeat that here on this side. So that's 1, 2 in the next stitch, and 1 in the next stitch. And that is our final toe increase, and we're going to single crochet all the way back around to the heel. So let's go single crochet all the way back, and when we get to the heel we'll have one final increase, and that will be the end of the heel or the sole part of our bootie. So let's go all the way back, single crochet. And when we get to the back, we want to take a look, we want to stop our work, and here is our heel center, and you can see the stitch here and the stitch here. So we're going to do 2 single crochet in the stitch next to that center point, and then we've got it right here on the other side will be our final. And now we have to determine if you want to leave it like this, the sole, or if you would rather have it worked up. Now in this boot, this loopy stitch boot, what I did was I took it up another row. You can kind of see how it went up. So if we're going to do the same kind of boot like this one, then what we need to do is in the next stitch over, we're going to slip stitch, which is, let me show you how to do that. We'll go into the next stitch, we'll grab our yarn and pull it back through, and then we'll grab the one loop and pull it under the other one. That is our slip stitch. And then we'll chain 1, and then we'll turn the work. I like to turn the work because it gives you a step. Do you see the step there? There's a step, like a drop off right here. And when we go this way, you won't see it, it won't be as noticeable. So in order to do the step on the boot the way that we have the loopy boot, we're going to go into this first stitch right here, and we're going to do single crochet all the way around. We're not going to increase, we're not going to decrease, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to do 1 single crochet, and I like to do back loops. You can see here how your work here will have 2 loops. We're just going to go into that back loop there and work our single crochet all the way around. It gives it a nice look. You don't have to do it this way. You can go into both loops, it'll still work the same. But I like the way it looks. You can see how it turns and it gives it a nice edge. And I think the bootie kind of looks better when you give it that look. So we're going to work single crochet all the way around the boot, and you'll notice that not only is it pulling up, but it gives you a really nice bottom edge to it. Now you can work this boot in any color. It really doesn't matter. I'm making these for a little boy, so I decided to go with browns. But you could work it in pink, you can work it in yellow, green, any kind of color. Well, you could work it all the same color. You don't have to make the sole a different color. You can make it all the same color if you'd like. I kind of like the contrast, the way that it looks when you contrast. So we're going to go all the way around. You can see this is the toe top. I'm just going in each stitch, not increasing, because if you increase during this round, you'll end up with a boot that's too big. It'll look weird. So we just want to go around, all the way around. We're almost there. So we will just keep working single crochet. I hope I'm not going too fast for anyone, but single crochet is pretty straightforward. So here we go, we're almost there. And I'm not counting. I don't like to count, so I have no idea how many stitches these are. All I know is that the shoe, if you're using regular 4-ply yarn and an H hook, by the time you're done, it should measure approximately 4 inches from heel to toe, and a 4-inch sole will fit about a 6 to 12 month baby. They say size 0 to 4. So I consider that like infant sized. You can make it smaller by just changing your hook size. Okay, now when you get to the end, I have one more stitch there, so I'm going to go into that stitch. And here's the step thing that I was telling you about. You can see how now it's not that noticeable. So in order to close this round, I'm going to go into the top of my very first stitch and just slip stitch. And you can see how it makes a pretty clean back. And that is the end of the sole part of your bootie. Now we can go on to working the top. In order to finish off, see, if you're going to use the same color yarn, you wouldn't finish, you would just keep going around. But because I'm going to change my yarn color, I'm going to finish off. And in order to finish, you just snip your yarn off and just wrap the yarn around and pull it through, and then pull it tight, and it'll be secure and it'll never come out. Okay, so the next part will be the boot top.